Can we say that these are new strategies that the terrorists are ensuring? This is in an area which is a very different, treacherous terrain. It's not easy. It's not the usual where some of these encounters would be taking place, sometimes even in downtown areas. Do tell us now how this change has also led to a change in strategy of the terrorists, that the Indian armed forces sometimes also do get caught by surprise.
See, much of it is Pakistan-sponsored terror. They're sending in weapons. There is also every bit to send in weapons via drones. Now, what we also know is that as far as 2019 is concerned, and since the abrogation of Article 370, we know that 628 terrorists have been killed. Most of them are also Pakistanis. So there's every bit instigation coming in from Pakistan trying to actually revive. But we've also seen improvement in terms of situation. The tourists are back. They're obviously looking at the brighter side of things. The locals want tourists to come in. But yes, terrorism has altogether not been eradicated. The goal is obviously, in the beginning of the year, we were told that there were 50 terrorists, but there has been a high level of infiltration also. There's every bit to prevent these infiltration, but some do manage to actually come in, and that is where there is obviously the strategy to counter these terrorists. And this is where the Indian armed forces, which have been at the international border, we know that the BSF is at the IB. This is where the strategy with help of technology. But once these terrorists manage to infiltrate into the hinterland, there is a possibility. And we know how information has worked, whether it is through technology, whether it is through human intelligence. All these are part. So there is a great network of informers. And even in this case, there was a clear pinpointed information which came in. And that is when the Indian Army, along with Jammu Kashmir police, not only launched an operation, but they started a cordon. Very clearly, the vantage point has been with the security personnel. In the years, we've seen how there has been a significant improvement. The losses as far as security personnel are concerned have been less. But the strategy has clearly focused as far as Pakistan-sponsored terror is concerned, because south of Pir Panjal, that is where the number of encounters have gone in. So we've seen in Rajouri, in Poonch area, in the beginning of the year, we were in Rajouri, and that is when we knew that Hindu families were targeted, and we saw there were ID attacks which were taking place. Consistently, we've seen Rajouri, Jammu, all these regions have been on the line. But now again, we've seen a rise in encounters, especially in part of South Kashmir. But this one is significant because these men who were leading from the front, the top officers, they're the ones, but obviously it also proves a point that the officers are leading from the front. They are going along with the entire unit, facing the brunt of or the wrath of these terrorists. But clearly, as far as the grit is concerned, determination is concerned, bravery, bravado, all this is concerned, the Indian Army has always led. And this is where we also saw how Jammu Kashmir Police DSP Himayu Muzammil Bhatt, who made the supreme sacrifice, we went and spoke to his father yesterday, IG Ghulam Hassan Bhatt, and obviously it was an emotional moment when the DGP was there, the IG was there. Obviously, a professional wise, he had served and completed his career, but to see his very young son die and succumb to the injuries, clearly, as far as the firing is concerned, when these officers took those bullets, there was every bit effort to evacuate them. But even then, the evacuation was almost made impossible, and it took quite some time before they could be brought down. They were rushed to the hospital.
It's a mountainous terrain, yes.
Manpreet had died on spot.
Yes, you're right. It's not an easy location.
The rest of the two, we've been told, succumbed to the injuries.
Kamaljit, stay on with me because we are right now, we're running these visuals from Major Dhonchak's residence from Panipat in Haryana, leaving behind, as you can see, a grieving family surrounded by the men of the Indian Armed Forces. And the Indian Army, remember, ensures the officers that you see on your screen are the sons now of the family. So it's not that the family is left alone. These sons, these brothers become that of the family that Major Ashish was. I can assure you, viewers, that the family, even at this time of grief, knows fairly well that they are surrounded by a support system, whether it's via the AWA, which is the Wives Welfare Association, or whether it is the officers here. We can see the young family there, clearly in a moment of grief that's absolutely unimaginable. And the mortal remains are being taken out for its last walk, so to say, before the final rites. 24 hours after, Colonel Manpreet Singh's mortal remains were also laid to rest, put to fire, and where the pyre was lit. And then the night before was of DSP Humayun Muzammil Bhatt. 3 brave men, incredible courage to fight terrorists in that difficult terrain so that India and Indians can stay safe, so Kashmir Valley can have its peace. These efforts will always be remembered. We thank the family and we thank the officers for their services. I'm heading into a short break.